Be selfish. Be more selfish.
After all, if you want to make the wrong decision, ask everyone. I watched this new interview with Naval Ravikant 3 times. And to save you time, I've compiled the best clips where Naval shares 12 of the greatest insights in his life. I'm Jordan, I've made over $5 million, hired 50 people. And let's start with the question, in what areas in life should one be selfish?
Make sure you really enjoy your work. Make sure you really are only working with the people that you really like working with.
Choose work you like and people you like to work with. To be yourself in a world that is constantly trying to make you something else is the greatest accomplishment. Well, here's an example.
Make sure you are only have the guests on that you're proud to have on, that you genuinely want to have conversations with.
It reminds me of this graph that I once drew. The greatest life is the one with the least amount of compromise. But that is something that I found to be quite true. Here's how Naval thinks about it.
You've already built something of incredible value, and it's going to continue compounding. So the value now is about the longevity. How long can you keep it going? Whether you go to episode 1,000 or 2,000 or 5,000 matters more than, you don't want to be in grinder mode. If you're just grinding, you're going to burn out. And the day you burn out, this thing is over.
So Naval is saying that the value, especially monetary value, comes from compounding. And for the compounding to happen, you have to sustain what you do. And you are more likely to not burn out if you like what you do. Like I wrote, burnout is not from doing too much, but from work you secretly deem meaningless. And the things you dislike doing hit twice. First in suffering, then in quitting before compound interest kicks in. But is doing work that you actually like really the highest calling in life?
That is the highest calling, creating something for yourself because you want it to exist. Now, nobody's perfect. We're not all going to get there. And there's always going to be external motivations. But the more internally motivated you can be, the more the thing itself is the reward, the better the work you will do, and the more fulfilling it is. So that's kind of what I aim for. But maybe that's just my excuse for being useless these days.
So create for yourself, follow your own curiosity, and start enjoying that ice cream called life before it melts down. Because the more internally motivated you can be, the more the activity is the reward, instead of the outcome from doing the thing. And the better you do the thing. Which brings me to the 5th insight. Isn't the greatest life the one that is spent with the least amount of internal chatter?
In a flow state, your mind isn't obsessing with itself. You're not thinking about yourself. You're focused on the thing. You're focused on the activity. It's a meditative state. It's a state where, like, for example, if you're drawing or painting, then you are the brush, you are the paint. You're only thinking about that. And there is no internal chatter. You're not saying, oh man, I can't wait for dinner, or I can't believe my wife said this to me. That's all gone. And you're also operating at the edge of your capability. So it's interesting enough that you are being stressed, you're being strained, you're operating at the edge, but it's not so far forward that you are being confused or you're like obviously screwing up. So flow state is a wonderful thing. It's a very meditative state.
So to spend more time in peace, there seem to be 2 answers. One, which could be to see through this ego, this self, which is called enlightenment, but I can't comment on that yet. And the second way to experience more bliss, in my experience, is flow state. So if flow state is the answer, then how do we make sure that we do not get into flow, right? I'm using inversion thinking here from Charlie Munger.
The surest way to not be in a flow state is to try to be in a flow state, right? Because it's that effort.
After all, the more you think about jumping, the deeper the pool seems. So then the question may become, how do I get into the flow state? More effort, less.
It comes much more from you find things that you like to do. And because you like to do something, you're interested in it, you're going to get good at it. You're going to be doing it. And as you're doing it, you're climbing that ladder of mastery. And you can climb that ladder in literally anything. As you get more and more into it, you're going to be more and more in flow.
Follow your natural curiosity in that moment. For example, I was writing today for my weekly 2-minute email that I sent. And when I chose a topic that I was actually interested in right then, after that the writing became effortless. Whereas before I had a topic that could get more interest and so on, but it just took a lot of effort to write about that. By the way, if you are interested in truth and want to read the things I found to be true in my own life, I write them in my 2-minute email that you will automatically receive if you access my free Google Sheet with 80 plus free tools that I use in my business and personal life. All unsponsored, not affiliated. Just truth. This brings me to boredom. Listen closely.
My problem is I switch around a lot. So I fall in love with something. I obsess over it. I learn everything I possibly can about it over a couple of months kind of period. And then once I figure the basics out, 80-20, I start getting bored. And then when I start getting bored, I just sort of background it. Now it becomes a piece of my knowledge and understanding. And then I just move on to the next thing. Or I just spend time being bored until the next thing comes along.
If you think boredom is bad, or you are afraid to be bored, then think about it. There may be something beyond this boredom that you are actually afraid to face. Most people seem to have the desire to escape from boredom.
And we can't help it. We're desiring creatures. You wouldn't even be here on this earth if you weren't a desiring creature, right? You just lie there in the dirt and let worms eat you. So you are a desiring creature, but you just have to be careful with your desires.
So be careful with what you desire. A rule of thumb that I found to be true is that the more desires I have, the less I experience peace. Even the desire to be at peace could be too much. Well, here's what Naval thinks about the point of desires.
I like games. I think we all like games. We all play games. We play the social game, we play the video games, we play the money games, we play the fitness game, we play the fame game, we play the love game, we play the happiness game. We all play games. And I've played a lot of games my whole life of every kind. And I've won a lot of games. And the reason to win the game is so you can be done with it. So you can see through it. If you just keep playing the same game over and over and over, grinding, trying to go higher and higher and higher, maybe that works for somebody. It doesn't work for me. So I like to either see through games or I like to be done with them.
See through the games or be done with them. But then what if you've seen through all of them? The money game, the status game, the fame game, and even the ego. You become enlightened. And how will you spend the rest of your life?
The feeling of being in love is greater than the feeling of being loved, is my point, okay? And you can be in love anytime you want.
The feeling of being in love with people or things is greater than the feeling of being loved, because you can be in love all the time. Wow. But then how do you be in love in a state of flow more in your life? Well, that was my question, and I share 3 practical truths that I found in this video. See you there.